Hello and welcome everyone. Today I want to talk about how to unlock creativity through during your education or at work. Creativity is a very important aspect because all interesting things that have happened in this world have resulted because somebody thought something interesting, something creative, and then they made that happen. So let's begin with the first point, which is to embrace curiosity. And I want to start this with a nice quote from Albert Einstein, which says that I have no special talents. I'm only passionately curious. So let us let this be a reminder for us that creativity begins with curiosity. So when I say embrace curiosity, you have to ask questions and explore areas beyond your academic interest. A lot of times, the interesting ideas may come from a different discipline. It may not be where you are currently working or in your area of expertise, but it could be something outside of your domain, outside of your field of expertise. And doing that is very relevant because in different industries, different sectors, things are done differently. And you can learn a lot by understanding how things are done in a different setting. So embrace curiosity by exploring different industries, different areas where you can work. Remember, curiosity leads to discovery and innovation. So, whenever we are talking about being curious, we are actually invoking the creative side of our mind because we are curious to see how things can be done in a different way, in a better way. So, by doing that, we are exploring the curiosity, exploring the creativity within our work. So, how can you be creative? What you could do is you could read a journal article or a conference paper or a website, a blog, something that is outside your area of expertise, right? So if you are from, say, computer science, you could read something, say, from management or marketing or finance, some other discipline. Because when you do that, you will get some new insights, new perspectives, and this could be very helpful. Another way to be creative as a research student is you could delve into interdisciplinary research, right? Where you can work in a team of experts from different disciplines and they can bring in different or unique perspectives that you may not have thought about. And that can, you never know, could strike the creativity. It could, you could get some really interesting ideas because you're working in a diverse group which has a different level of skills and expertise, and the ideas that can come out of such collaboration would be very much interesting. As an undergraduate student, you can do something similar, right? What you could do is you could take on an interdisciplinary project rather than just doing one project within your discipline. Again, if I take an example of you being a software engineering student or a computer science student, you could work on a project maybe for the department of health or and some any other discipline where you get to experience a different work environment and give yourself the opportunity to kind of experiment, to be creative. Okay, now let's move on to the next point, and next point is on growth mindset. So this is a very important aspect to understand. And as we start this, I want to again bring you to another interesting quote from Einstein, where Anson mentions that it's not that I am so smart, right? It's just that I stay with problems longer. So by doing that, we want to what we want to do is want to embrace our challenges or our as opportunities and use that as an opportunity for us to grow and learn and find creative ways to solve the problems that we are facing with. If we stay with the problem longer, we have a very better, clearer, and deeper understanding of the problem. And once you have that, you will come up with creative ideas to solve those problems. Right? This brings me to this very interesting book called as Mindset, and I have read this book. Where is it? And I would suggest you guys can read this. It's quite an interesting book. I mean, you can see all the scribblings that I have inside the book. I have read it inside out, the whole book. And if you notice, I have made a note at the end that this book talks about these many different people and their stories and their how they have changed their mindset to solve the problems that they were facing. So it's a very, very nice book by Dr. Carol Dweck. So I suggest you read this if you are exploring um, how to change your mindset. And basically, this book talks about two things. One is focus is on growth mindset, which is what we are going to talk about today. And growth mindset basically says that anything or any skill can be developed through getting appropriate training, right? So that applies to intelligence as well as creativity. So if you are thinking that, oh, you're not creative, you do not consider yourself to be creative person, I think again and maybe read this book. It will show you the examples of so many people, I think over 150 or 200 people probably, and their stories within that. And it shows how you can change your mindset. So if you're thinking that you're not creative, you may need to change your mindset and understand that any skill may be acquired with the right training. So creativity is also such a skill that you can acquire, and the more you use it, the more polished it becomes, right? So keep that in mind. Like I said, embrace challenges and failures as opportunities for growth. And whenever you see a challenge, you could be come up with a creative solution to solve that problem. And as you identify more and more problems and work on them, you can improve your creativity skills. So you will come up with ideas that you will be very proud of yourself. And remember that creative endeavors are rarely straightforward and often involve significant trial and error. And this is when you're doing this trial and error, that's when creativity can emerge, because you're trying something, didn't work. Try something else, that didn't work. You try something else, didn't work. Eventually, something works. And that is a creative approach. That is the idea that you have. That is the idea that came to you to solve a problem in a very creative way. Also understand the importance of feedback, because feedback can spark creative ideas, right? Don't consider feedback as criticism, but rather take it on a positive front and see how you can use it as a valuable tool to help you build your creativity as a new skill. Yeah, like I said, use it as it is a important tool, valuable tool for you to work with. So how could you be creative, right? So here, this kind of slides that I have in the presentation today is actually some activities that you can do, right? So what you can do is, from the feedback that you have received, write three things that you have learned. It could be any feedback. It could be feedback on your assignment. It could be feedback on a research paper that you have submitted for review. It could be feedback on your thesis, or could be feedback on the work from your manager or your supervisor. So from that, identify three things that you have learned. Yeah, take the feedback in a positive way and identify three things that you have learned. One action that you can take to improve. So from the three things you have learned, what is it that you can do to improve? So mention one of the action that you want to take, and focus on the process. See, this is important. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. So our focus is not on the outcome, but we have to see how we can change the process so that we become more creative and more productive in our work or in our studies. So follow this, maybe complete this task today after the session finishes. Right? The third point. The third point is on building creative confidence. Right? So here, I want to start with the quote given by Sylvia Plath, and that is, the worst enemy to creativity is self doubt. Yeah, the worst enemy to creativity is self doubt. So, as we delve into this topic of building creative confidence, let's just keep aside any self doubt that we have and trust our creative potential. Right, whatever we think, everyone is creative. Right, what you think as creative, somebody else may think, oh, they are not even that creative, you are even more creative. So it is very it is a perspective with which we think on our levels of creativity. Right, any approach that you take to solve a problem can be considered as a creative approach if it improves the way a problem is currently being solved. Right, as simple as that. So if you have self doubt that whether you are good or not, whether your approach is correct or not, just keep it aside for now and believe in your creative capabilities and express your ideas without fear and judgment. Yeah, so don't hold the ideas with you, right? Just because you may think that, oh, when if I share this idea and people do not like it, they may consider that I'm not a very smart person or I'm not creative enough. But don't do that. Don't limit your this expression. Don't limit your sharing your ideas just because you are just because of fear of how people will judge you. Don't think about that point. Right, so what can you do to be creative for this part, right, in terms of building up your self confidence? Right, so what you can do is do a creativity journal. Right, so every week, so every day of the week, you can jot down any ideas that come to you, and they can come to you at any time. Maybe when you are having a meal, maybe when you are in the shower, or maybe when you are writing something or reading something, or whatever. Ideas can come at any time. And what you should do is you should just have a small book or maybe just your phone, right, and make note of that idea right away the moment it comes, because the idea can come and can quickly go as well. So you have to capture it the moment it comes. You have to record it somewhere so that you don't miss it. And at the end of the week, review this list, right, review this journal to see where your imagination has been traveling or roaming around. Right, so this way you have a list. Maybe do it this week maybe and see how many ideas you get, and you may not even know how many ideas you are getting unless you do a journal like this. So do this, and it is just like a self assessment that how many ideas you can get and how many you could action upon. And what you could also do is get some feedback from others on what do they think about these ideas that you have got, and their response and their inputs would also be helpful in kind of evaluating the quality of the creativity of your ideas. Right, if you are a teacher, what you could do, right, as a teacher you could organize brainstorming sessions where every idea is valued and considered and provides a safe space for creative expression. So, as a teacher, empower your students to open up, to let them share their thoughts, share their ideas on this, and don't. And it is the job as a teacher to make sure that the students feel comfortable to express their opinion, express their ideas, because that is a way through which creativity can be nurtured. If it is kind of if the students are not provided, not just students, even at work, right? If your superiors do not provide a very supportive and a conducive environment where you could share your ideas or share your creativity, if it is not there, then that the creativity will not bloom, it will not grow, it will just remain there with that person. And sometimes they may have a very interesting thought or an idea, a very creative idea that could help you as a business, or if you are a part of a group that is doing a group assignment, that idea could be the one that you maybe you're waiting for. You never know. So give them the opportunity to have a creative have a supportive space for creative expression. Okay, the next one is change. And this point, I want to start with a quote from Steve Jobs, right? Innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity and not as a threat, right? So, once again, innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity and not as a threat. So it's very interesting statement, right? So let's approach our studies or our projects or at work with an openness to incorporate insights from various disciplines, so that we can see what we can do to incorporate creativity in our work or in our study. Remember that when there is a change, you need innovation, or when there is innovation, you will see a change. It's vice versa if you think about it. But both these things, change and innovation, requires creativity. So let's just look at this very simple example, which is this. What is this? Right? This is a mobile phone, right? What did people do when they didn't have a mobile phone? So starting to use a phone was a change, right? And that change was brought about by an innovation called as a smartphone. Yeah. So somebody somewhere thought that it would be easier for people to do work while they are on the move. And if they have a device which is small and can be kept in a pocket, that will be very helpful. So that was a creative idea, wasn't it? So having that is so the creativity is the engine behind innovation. So whenever you want to innovate, whenever you see a problem, a issue within the work or in the society, and you think that this should be changed, then you have to come up with an innovation. And the moment you start on that journey, creativity should be standing next to you. You can also see change as a canvas for experimenting with your creativity. So it could be an opportunity that you would get where you can explore that, oh, I have this idea, I want to see whether it works or not. So that gives you an opportunity to explore your ideas. When change disrupts the status quo, it can lead to massive opportunities for creativity. So remember that whenever change is happening, a lot of things are changing, right? So at that time, there is excessive amounts of opportunities to innovate or to create something interesting and new. Change exposes us to new cultures and ideas, expanding our worldview and sparking creativity. So when you are immersed in a world, in a environment which is different from your normal work environment, you will definitely get some creative ideas. Take my word on that. Let's see how you can be creative. So if you are a student, say engineering student, you might want to incorporate principles of psychology when you are designing user interfaces. So for example, if you're designing a mobile app, so designing a mobile app is not just using software programmers, right? They actually realize the vision or the design that is designed by a designer, and the designer designs the design by understanding human psychology. What is it that users like? How will they use the software or the app? So building up a product requires immense levels of creativity. So if you're doing a project, maybe you can try this as a idea. The next point is reflection, right? Reflection is something that you have to, it is a reflection on your experience. You have done something and you have learned something by doing that. So John Dewey says a very nice thing here. We do not learn from experience. He says we do not learn from experience, but we learn from reflecting on our experience. So it's a very interesting quote. So see, read it again. We do not learn from experience, but we learn from what we reflect from that. So it is, reflection is very important here. So learning from success and learning from failure gives rise to creative ideas for future. So you can learn from both sides. When you are successful, you can reflect on why you were successful, and if you failed at something, you can explore and reflect why you failed at something. But both these exercises of reflection will prepare you for future. In future, when you have to handle another challenge, your creativity will be there with you to support you. Problem solving skills acquired through reflection is vital for creative endeavors, navigating uncertainties and finding creative solutions. So, whenever you are working on something of importance, something that is has a major may have a major impact on either on the people or on the society or on the environment, you have to come up with ideas, very creative ideas to solve problems. Maybe make a solution cheaper or make it fast, and to do all these things you have to be creative on what is it that you can do. And while working on projects or while working on assignments, there are a lot of uncertainties, right? So navigating these uncertainties and finding a creative solution is a skill, and this skill needs to be acquired and nurtured. So you should focus on this very much. Reflecting on our experiences becomes a stepping stone for future creativity, right? So if you have learned something, you can apply that going forward. Sometimes you will get these eureka moments, right? That when you're reflecting upon something, you realize that, wow, this is something really exciting, really creative, and this is where these reflections kind of stir your subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is a treasure trove for innovation, creation, and creativity, right? So remember that and understand and start practicing reflection. It is not something that you um, are born with. It is something that you can learn. How to be creative, right? In terms of reflections, what you could do is write a reflective essay on what you think, what you learned, and think how you could be even more creative in the future. So it could be maybe a feedback that you have received on something. It could be an work that you completed, a project that you completed, or assignment that you submitted, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever task you have completed or accomplished, write a reflective essay on that and list your learnings and see how you can be even more better and creative in the future when something similar comes up. Okay, so as we come to the conclusion, close to the end of this session, I want to remind you that creativity isn't just a spark that just comes up and disappears. but it is a journey, and a journey that is fueled by curiosity, resilience, and reflection. Right? So remember that creativity is a journey, not just a spark. And thank you for embarking on this journey of creativity with me. And I hope that whatever I have covered in today's session will give you some guidance, some help, and some support in your journey to becoming a creative person. As I said earlier on, do read the book called Mindset. It was a very interesting and a thought provoking book for me. And I learned a lot from that book, to be frank. And I believe that you will also learn a lot by reading it. Okay, this topic on creativity is a very vast topic. I can only cover so much in a session like today, but do check out my blog for a detailed insight on this topic and all the upcoming topics in the future. All the videos that I do, I also have a equivalent blog article on those topics, so do check that out. And also, I have a research web community, right? So do check that community link in the description of this video, and follow that, because you will get a lot of useful information from that community. All right, that's it. That's all for today. Thank you very much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for another interesting topic. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you very much. Bye.